Hey guys, Merstru here, back with another video today. Now for this week we're going to be talking about before studying nursing, what you should read or what you should study and what type of purchases and what things you should get before you start the course. Now I've left the timestamps down below, so if you need to skip around and watch the bits you want to watch, I've put as many stamps as I can down there so you can find that as easy as you can. It would help out the channel a lot if you would have watched the whole way through, but you know, I know obviously everybody doesn't have the time to be doing that. So if you need to skip through, I've got them down there for you. Now, in saying that, let's get to the video. Firstly, I want to just touch on don't do's. First thing, don't read the whole textbook. When you get all your allocated textbooks, don't think reading them all is going to help you out that much, because it's probably just going to cause more confusion and more stress and anxiety because you may not understand some concepts. Some people think, hey, if I get it and I read it all, I'll be ahead in the start of the class. Some bits will help you out, some other bits will just be more confusing than anything. So the best thing and my tip is just to wait for your educator or the teacher to allocate certain passages and certain pages to read, which they'll outline during the class. Now it's just to gain a bit of further understanding on what was talked about during the class. Now for example, speaking about the musculoskeletal system, the teacher obviously doesn't have all the time in the world to go through everything, so they will go through a brief outline, touch on some key areas and say to you, okay, go to page 200 of the textbook, and that gives you an in-depth description of the musculoskeletal system. Go through that if you have a bit of misunderstanding, or if you want to dive a little bit deeper into that, and then that's where our self-directed learning comes into play, and we go through that and read it and understand it a bit more. 2, don't stress out. You know, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process of learning. For me, I am still very interested in health and the way the body works, the body mechanics, and what effects medication and other types of interventions have on the body. So I just find it very interesting. So by relaxing, just enjoying it, the less you stress out and worry about learning it, you seem to actually absorb it a lot better because you're interested, genuinely interested, the same way you'd be interested in, say, a hobby. You know everything about it, you just want to find out how it works, what happens. So taking that mentality into the degree and just being like, okay, you know, I really want to understand what's going on and how everything works. And it seems to digest a lot easier that way than stressing out thinking, I need to know this, I need to know this. It's like, it sort of already puts a negative connection between learning in itself and the degree and your own mentality. The first thing I'd say to study a little bit before studying and to just get your head around is medication calculations. Now, it's going to be a big part of the degree and obviously the journey and your career afterwards. You know, every day we're doing medication calculations. In saying that, you will obviously have access to cheat sheets per se. If you're in the medication room, there's always the formulas on the wall, so you have that on you, but you really need to know it. Just if you're in a certain situation where you may not have access to that and you need to, say, set up a pump or set up a drip, or you're in a situation where you need to sort of figure it out, you know the formula. You can, you know, using your phone for a calculator is fair enough, obviously, because we're trying to get accurate drip rates and dosages, but just knowing the formulas, especially just the basic ones in terms of oral medication tablets, fluid infusions, and dilutions of medication in just say 100 ml bag of saline or 250 ml bag of saline, and the administration dosing. So those basic type of things is good to get your head around because you will be tested depending on the school, probably from day one, but very early on you'll be expected to learn these calculations and be able to perform them unassisted. And don't think, oh my god, the maths, my head's gonna explode, I can't do it. You know, it's a progressive thing. It starts off very, very simple and it builds up like everything in the degree. It starts off very basic and very easy to understand, and you just build a layer upon layer upon layer of your understanding until you get to a point where you have this big range of understanding. So getting your head around some of these basic calculations will give you a lot more confidence coming into the degree, and these initial assessments, if they're medication calculation based, give you just a lot more confidence, and like I said again, it reduces the stress level so you can actually enjoy the learning and the content. If you want me to go through some different basic, intermediate and advanced medication calculations, just let me know. I definitely can go through that if that's what what you guys want. And I know a lot of students not have a hard time, but it is a stressor, because 99.9% of the time, depending on the school, obviously they do require 100% pass rate to continue on with the course. So a great thing to be really confident in, because it takes a lot of stress off. So if you want me to go through that, definitely let me know. I can go through that and design and put together some templates and study guides and sort of cheat sheets that we can use, and you guys can use. All right, second thing is understanding the nursing process. Now, you may have heard, or you will definitely hear of the phrase thinking like a nurse, and critical thinking, which is based around the nursing process. Now, it includes assessment, diagnosis, planning, implementation, and evaluation. Now, these are key components of the nursing care cycle, which will definitely give you a bit of a head start in terms of when you're getting information and processing that information and evaluating your outcomes is pretty much nursing in itself. Okay, we're assessing, we're nursing, diagnosing. We're not diagnosing because we're not doctors, but we're implementing nursing diagnosis, which you'll find out about later on. Planning our care around that, implementing the care, and then evaluating the outcomes of our care, whether it worked, whether it didn't work, and what we need to improve on for next time. All right, next is time management. Now, this is a very important part of nursing, and it essentially encompasses mostly all of healthcare, because our time is very limited and is very precious, and we need to be as efficient as we can to maximize the time that we spend on our patients' care, on the planning, on the evaluating, and everything, because at the end of the day, we only have 8, 10, maybe 12 hours sometimes, and it may seem like a long time, but with a whole list of stuff you have to do for each patient, it goes past very fast. So learning how to do it right and now, early on in the process, it will save you a lot of time and stress later on. Now, I have another video coming out about time management. I'll tag it up in the corner there. So you go through that, and it will really break down what time management it is, how we use it on the ward and during a shift, and what is the best methods to implement it into our daily care. Now, next thing will be improving our own health habits. Studying is a full-time commitment. Whether you're doing only one subject or unit or up to 4 in a semester, it really is all-consuming. You're constantly thinking about it, due dates, what stuff I need to learn, reviewing other things. So it can be very taxing on the body, especially if you're working or you have other commitments at the same time. It's not the easiest thing at all, but at the same time, it is doable and it is easily managed. But we have to look after ourselves and our health first, because if we're not 100%, we can't give 100%. So 4 key areas I just want to touch on. First one is sleep, which is probably the most important, because we're using our brains a lot, especially learning and practicing. It needs to be well rested so we can process that information, store it, and be able to recall it back easier later on. Second is eating well. Now, we can't expect our body to perform at 100% if we're not putting in the best fuel we can. Like the old saying goes, you only get out what you put in. Next is exercise. Now, you don't have to exercise every day for hours and hours on end, but just regular exercise to keep the body moving, to keep the blood flowing, is really helpful, and it does do a lot more than you think. I'm going to be really tired if I exercise, I won't be able to study. It honestly has the opposite effect. After you work out, it really boosts your energy, boosts your metabolism, boosts everything, your brain function, everything. It's really amazing. Next is routine. Now, if you're working odd shifts, like you will be doing when you're nursing, and then studying at the same time, it can be a little bit hard. Do your best, but if you do have a stable job, or if you're not working at all and you're just studying, try to make a routine, a day-to-day that's the same. You wake up every day at the same time, you do, say, the same things, but you have your time scheduled out, and then you sleep at the same time. It really makes your body work like clockwork. It can be a little bit draining. You can feel a bit demotivated sometimes because you're doing the same thing again and again every day, but it does really give your body a sort of habit to form and to stick by. And it really does a lot more than if you're waking up at different times, doing different things at different times of the day all the time, sleeping at different times, it can really just mess you up, and then your brain's a bit all over the place, your body's all over the place. So just having a routine does help a lot. All right, next thing, I just wanted to touch on some purchases. First thing is a backpack. Now, especially if you're attending face-to-face classes, you're gonna need to carry all your stuff around. So just a nice backpack that's easily accessible. You can get stuff in and out easily, and you can store pretty much a lot of books. Is going to be, you know, probably one of the best things you can get. Second thing, stationery. Now, I've talked about this many times, but it is pretty much the key. Obviously, besides a computer or a laptop, you don't necessarily have to have it. Obviously, there's library. You can go into the library and use the computers if you're unable to get access to any of those. But just basic stuff, pens, notebooks, diaries, even scheduling apps on your phone are fantastic. There's so many apps that have been designed around not only students, but nursing students specifically, which, you know, if you hunt down and find them, they're really great. Obviously a fob watch, I've said this in many other videos. A drink bottle, a quality drink bottle, because you're gonna be needing to be hydrated while you're studying, and pretty much anything else that you think is gonna help you study or manage your time better. Also, a good pair of shoes, you're gonna need them, especially if you're on campus, you're walking around a lot. Now, clinical shoes is obviously, like I said in other videos, black leather, but in terms of just day-to-day, you know, some good shoes, especially if you're on campus, walking around a lot, and even in labs and stuff like that. You know, take care of your feet, because you're gonna need them. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I just wanted to outline some key things just to sort of touch on before you get into nursing school. It's not compulsory, but it will help you out a bit, and just some things that you might want to get before you start, just to make your life a little bit more easier and to help you out. Now, in saying that, it would mean a lot to me if you would like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, I'm doing this once a week, as well as on Instagram and TikTok, the main two things that I'm doing at the moment. Trying to get as much educational content as I can, you know, having some fun along the way, and doing the best that I can to help out nursing students. Put in your questions or suggestions down in the comments below, you know, and let me know, you know, how does it feel to start nursing school, or, you know, how do you feel now that you've started than before, you know, you're thinking about getting into it? You know, what's changed? You know, let me know. It's very interesting to know other people's perspectives. Well, you've heard mine, so I want to hear yours. Thanks again for all the support, and I'll see you on the next shift. See you later.